The first proposal is extension to the existing Rottnest Island Museum, which derives its narrative from the colonial aspect. The origins of the building can be traced all the way back to the 1850s, beginning as a hay store, then was adapted into a staff quarter and a library, then finally, in 1977, into the museum that we all know today. The colonial narrative is extremely significant to the main settlement, evident through the preserved fabric of the limestone buildings that speak of its intangible history. The proposed site for the extension is a plot of land adjacent on the western side of the museum. The decision to design on the site was mainly influenced by heritage regulations such as the Borough Charter, which stated that works involving heritage should remain on the place where the narrative is most significant. Other aspects were taken into consideration, like the removal of tall trees which are non-native and imposes stress on the limited water supply on the island due to its high water demand. In this proposal, the museum extension seeks to further the potential of the current museum as a heritage edifice, and the design is also influenced by the three design principles that link it back to the notion of palimpsest, these being balance between old and new, light and heavy, framing of experiences, and building form, as well as porosity through materiality and movement. In the extension, the form and materiality reflect the characteristics of the original museum building with a contemporary touch. The skeletal frame of the structure is a lightweight steel framing that has exposed trusses inspired by exposed timber roof members of the original museum building. This strikes a balance between the lightweightedness of the new extension and the solid structure of the original museum. Besides achieving the balance, steel at its end-of-life phase can be dismantled and reused for another purpose. The interior cladding is made of white gyprock plasterboard, while internal flooring will be of Marmoleon Walton titanium flooring, which gives a grey finish. The harmony between these two colours helps to maintain the neutrality of the space, which contributes to its dynamic character while maintaining the focus on the exhibits. Translucent polycarbonate will be used as the main southern facade to emit diffused lighting into the interior spaces and allows interior lighting to give the building a faint, distinctive glow at night to illuminate the immediate surroundings. For the external cladding, iron ash timber cladding will be used to complement the white colour of the current museum, yet discernible as an extension, besides giving a visible sense of tactility. The reasons for this material is also mainly due to it being sustainably sourced as well as being H3 treated, which resists moderate decay, borers, termites, and is also weather resistant. The use of materials and form heeds the regulations ruled out in Article 22 in the Borough Charter, stating that new work should pay reference to the significance of place through site, form, character, colour, texture, and also materiality considerations without any attempt of imitation. The narrative journey begins from the old to new, which is the original museum, to the new extension. Visitors will enter from the existing entrance into the original museum, where they'll be greeted by an RA volunteer on duty. Upon gold coin donation, visitors are given an activated piece of Marmoleon tile, which becomes their token in the museum. As one's journey begins into the linear structure, they could look into the western windows that are retained to allow visual connection between the original museum into the new extension. Visitors could use the token system that is placed into a wall-mounted slot, where they can scan the slotted token with their phone and listen to an audio presentation by the author or artist of the exhibit. In order to access into the new extension, a sealed door has been proposed to be reopened to connect the two structures. Upon entering the new space, visitors first enter a buffer zone before they're greeted by a series of movable wall panels that functions as both partitions as well as exhibit walls. These movable panels are attached to a railing system that allows different configurations of panels that leads to the porosity of human circulation within the space. Having these movable panels, the space becomes more dynamic and can be adapted for various purposes and occasions, reflecting on the adaptive reuse history of the original museum building. At the corner of the building, visitors will pass through a transition space before they are greeted by AR projections in the circular darkroom. There, they are very much immersed in the content that they have read or listened to before. Through projections, this fosters interaction between people and narrative as they start to see the things that they have read come to life figuratively. After the AR room, visitors then pass through the transition space again to re-emerge into the main exhibition area. When they are ready to leave the building, an RIA volunteer on duty then scans the Mausoleum Tower piece for deactivation, which can be taken away by visitors as a souvenir. At the exterior, landscape is an extension of the design that creates a relationship between the design and external environment. The plot of land in front of the southern facade of the museum extension has been redesigned as a landscape to foster interaction between visitors as a means of both context activation. The landscape features specifically designed dynamic seating that integrates both benches as well as bike racks, allowing visitors to rest and park their bicycles in a safe, secure area. The benches are made of iron ash timber, which contains the materiality of the external cladding. The grass patch also features stone path configurations that translates the arrangement of the internal exhibit panels, creating a pattern for the landscape. The dynamic nature of the benches and stone path configurations are an extension of the design, where it seeks to supplement the function of the museum by giving a space for gathering and respite. Strip lighting has also been used in favor of the top wall lighting to illuminate the building after hours to continue bringing life and activating the space even during dark. This helps to highlight the tactile features of the building whilst maintaining a softer glow to provide a more subtle and comfortable approach to night activation. Hence, the proposed museum extension merely captures elements and forms of the original museum through contemporary means. This bridges the gap between the past and the present to provide for today's uses whilst retaining historical aspects.